chest of love, man. It's a treasure chest in each and every one of us. And just like a real treasure chest, man, is it ever filled with surprises and baubles and trinkets and glittery gold things and all kinds of, radiant, wonderful, spiritual jewelry, baby. So for lack of, better terminology, it's something we can really get dressed up in. It's called like the angelic presence within. The true hidden truths that humans have avoided for many centuries now because of our feelings of unworthiness. Whether we respected them enough to even admit that we had them or not, they were there just the same. And they've kept us from that great gain forever because we felt what? Burdened by it all instead of blessed, man. And so therefore we had to create certain self-tortures and punishments for ourselves that went on for generations without end, got so exaggerated it became warfare, and now warfare completely upon the people worldwide. Can you imagine? And the great silliness involved in it, because somebody thought they were like the one, and they are. Everybody is. Just like that old song, everybody wants to rule the world. Well, guess what? We already do. We rule the aspect of our own creation right now, but we do it in a heartfelt way from this heart level. And becoming conscious of that is simply allowing your presence to be. And you just need to give yourself some time to do it and flow it in naturally. Yeah. Babies, You see what I've come through. I tell you my stories about trucking and everything and about, coming back to Utah and saying, oh my God, what have we done here? You can get so glum about things, man. You can really sink yourself down. But just remember, as you're sinking, you're coming right back up again. There ain't no way you can drown in this bullshit. No matter how bad it gets, man. Because, babies, you created it. It's yours. And mine too. I mean, we live in it. We allow ourselves to be in it. So that, babies, and we know what it feels, how it feels to rise up out of it. Because we're doing it right now. And it's, stepping right into the age of truth inside of ourselves as a personal experience, which is then shared with the entirety of creation. Because what one experiences, all experience. And all experiences are joined in this single moment. The grand heart embraces them all and says, bless you. And from all of that burden comes the greatest blessing of all. Because we can allow ourselves to be blessed despite all the bullshit we've seen ourselves commit and do, the many heresies and so forth, the savage intensity of our violence and so forth. Our real restrictions, we throw at one another like, mud, like it's nothing. We wound hearts right and left, aren't even aware of it. Yet now, because we're coming out of the wounded stage inside of ourselves, because we're overcoming the one wound that everybody carried from the original mother on outward, because we can now deal with that far more creatively than we ever have before. And see, yeah, sure, it's been an intense thing, and yeah, we did feel burdened by it and responsible for it, and maybe in a way we was. But in another way, the innocence of the baby child inside of us exists in all of our experience. Babies were kids in a sandbox, inside the mothership love, right there in her heart, man. Where it's safe, and we could be set free to be, ornery little cantankerous little bingies for a while, and bing on each other until it was blue in the face and just wasn't getting us anywhere. Now it's gotten us everywhere. Because we can divinely embrace and appreciate that experience for all of whatever it was and be done with it. What was then is not now. This is present. This is me. This is you. This is the reality that we live in. One love, one heart. The more you embrace and feel that one love, that one heart in this moment of unity, the more you're going to find expansion in your expression here, and the more peace you're going to have. The life is turmoil right now, yes, for most of us. It's been a little twisted. but we're unraveling all of the darker elements in it, along with all the untruthful ones. You see, there's nothing wrong with what's going on. There's nothing wrong with you. Yes, you're going through many shifts and changes, adjustments that are just off the freaking charts. Your body feels like it wants to terminate, yet wants to blossom and grow like a son of a gun. You know, you're kind of in that nether world, the in-betweener world, and you're back and forth between the real love and the old life. And the real love keeps winning. You go there more and more and more, and until, wow, it's in the real love you're living, and there you are, just grinning like the Cheshire cat, man. Happy as a contented clown, with everyone in the circus hanging around, you know, applauding you because you just gave such an incredible performance. And all you did was follow through on your heart. You just stayed with the feeling. You let yourself be united in this heart. You let yourself go where others wouldn't go, where they didn't dare go. They're afraid of love. Well, that means we are too then, right? So let's look at what that is. You see, again, I point out that it's more than likely buried in feelings of unworthiness. This is what makes us create abnormal love for ourselves, especially in relationship situations, where we really don't partner up with, quote, quote, the right persons, right for the moment, but only for a while, and then it starts to fall apart. You're such different people. You can't even communicate anymore. There's not even a level of communication. It can happen so fast and so rapidly. You know, I put up this little picture yesterday of some divine little darling riding a pony with no bridle, no saddle. Beautiful, man. Beautiful picture. And it says, man, I'm not the kind that can be pushed around, but I sure can be led around by the nose every now and then. But it's true, babies. For love, baby, we give just about everything. We go to the extremes for love, man. We hide in the closet. We hide in the bell towers. You know, we'll sneak around wherever we have to. But now, you know, it's not like that anymore. We don't have to grab for it from one another like that any longer. We just have to let this love mature naturally inside of us by embracing the feeling of it, that unity feeling. Unity with all of your person and being. And this will only expand into the expression with others, of course. But the union commits itself way before you think in physical terms. Way, way, way before that. You see, it's unity of heart. And it changes our entire approach to this area of our life. It sets us free from all of the old restrictions we created in our desire to get through in the darker way and to allow us to have, you know, a life. So we created these suffocating little boxes for ourselves, and we teamed up as pairs and started raising children inside of those little boxes. Well, it was caves at first. You got to see some of the relics they found in the caves down there in the Grand Canyon about 80 years ago, man. Maybe it's 100 years ago now. It's quite a while ago anyway. You know, then you'll understand what I mean when I say living in caves. It was not primitive. It was not caveman. Not in those times. That was just the first place we resided when we first arrived here on Earth and became, you know, the residential human beings that we're becoming now. The enlightened ones that came from the sun and stepped forward on the earth and became human beings. We stepped right through that sun, baby. S-U-N. Yes, indeed. We stepped right through that as we came into our personal presence here on this earth. Those of us that made the choice to fly this direction. You got to understand, we're a special branch of angels. We're engineered to be real troubleshooters. You know what I mean? And that's what we are. We're the spiritual specialists, the mechanics of the universe that keep everything running right. You know, the Scotty down in the engine room that doesn't ever let up until he can do warp factor 18 plus or whatever he needs to do in that moment of time. Him and that machine, they have a cantankerous relationship, but they're getting along rather well, wouldn't you say? And babies, we just went beyond any warp factor known. You know, we've become going so fast that we're actually not moving at all. We've become still in the presence of creation. And now we can sit here satisfied in the center of all of that creation and watch as it expands in the glow of our ever-loving golden love, our passionate heart. which brings that passion not just to humanity in fullness finally, in a way that it's more than manageable, or you can't contain it, of course. It's true freedom. But it's freedom to be passionate fully, to feel and express life without limit or restriction. Can you imagine it? Because here it is, inside of you. And when we talk about, developing ourselves through these behaviors that have restricted us, we're talking about setting one another free, setting ourselves free inside. Letting go of any of the vestiges that might restrict our heart in any way. Darlings, this is the days we've been waiting for. This is the moment in time which is now, and you have arrived. And you are now the angelic presence you've always been. One that was more than willing to endure a little hardship, a little pain, in order to find the greatest gain for all, the greatest good for all of creation, as well as for the goodness of humanity. Nothing like being fractured and beat up and tarnished and beat to pieces to make you appreciate being whole again, now is there? Nothing like being removed so far from the light of the sun that you think it's separate from you, and you feel all alone. You feel blessed by the sun, you feel blessed by the earth, but you also feel cursed by them. That everything runs against you, there's been a lot of that lately, It's been getting obvious and visible to some folks. Because, you see, you're learning to see beyond the old anxiety that says you're separate from anything. Again, it comes back to this moment of feeling yourself together in the oneness. And quite naturally, that expands into the creation around you, and everything changes. Everything. And the old reality with all of its illusions and lies dissolves away. And only those in creation that can come and play in the creation of love will be there, which is everyone and everything. It sounded like we was going off on a tangent, didn't it? But it's true. We exclude no one. That's what we're all about. We are the union of life. Life reunionating with itself inside of the human temple. Yeah, I said temple. That's what the little body is, temple of the heart. The treasure chest, as I said, right there in the center of your chest is the key to your awakening to the divine treasures of your own reality. So embrace yourself, baby. Be ready for the rest of this ride. It gets grander still. It never stops. It never stops. And why should it? We can take one moment of divine connection and experience that in the rest of forever, because that is the forever moment. And that's where we live. United on the beachy, the warm, soft, sandy beaches of love, graced by the blessings of paradise itself, united in all ways with all that is. We're a new form of creation now, stepping forward from the ocean as if we are the first life to ever live. And babies, in essence, that's what's taken place right now inside of you and I and all the rest of us too. It's that moment we've been waiting for, when we arise from the water once again as the human being. The angelic presence in its divinest of form. The one that can feel and be real and can trust itself in the heart sufficiently to allow the divine intelligence to re-enter and be its form of creation forevermore. That's peaceful contentment. That's life healing all of its fractures, all of its separations. It's not just a smoothing over. It is a completion where all energies from the smallest to the largest join in complete union. Because that's our reality anyway. And from here on out, we experience it in that state of union, rather than in the state of digression where we felt alone. But in our aloneness, I point out, is where we found this oneness first. Inside of our heart came forward the vision of the divine dream, the joining of love, the two hearts that are one heart forevermore, 3 in 1, man, always. And there we are, creating that moment and living in it and coming forward from it as the vessels of love and light that we are. And ready to rock and party too, babies, and play. So let's get a little more of that underway. Turn up the radio here on the Coyote Medicine Show in that coyote way, babies. As hazyradio.com continues to light the way. Here with Grandpa Coyote on that Coyote Medicine Show in the Hazy Radio Network way, babies. Oh, yeah. Ain't you glad you came over here today? I certainly am. Thank you very much.